Well, hello, beautiful people. This is Jessica Jones with Taurus Financial Solutions, coming to you today with a quick video on community property states. So, I live in California, and so I know this very well. Depending on your state, it'll definitely determine whether you're a community property state or not. But as of the time of this recording, there are 9 community property states and then 3 that have an opt-in option. So what a community property state means is that if you are married, then anything acquired during your marriage, which includes income as well, so income or any other purchases, homes, properties, things like that that were acquired during your marriage, become both spouses. So it's community property, meaning it's split 50-50, no matter who made the income or that sort of thing. So this is an important aspect to retirement planning, especially if you have a lot of moving parts like children from different marriages or that sort of thing. So it's just a good thing to be aware of on how your assets are going to be distributed and how the state looks at it as far as divorce or death or things like that. So the community property states, there's 9 of them. So it's California, Nevada, Arizona, then Wisconsin, Washington, Idaho, New Mexico, Texas, and Louisiana. I think that was 9. And then there's 3 with opt-in. You can opt in to be treated like community property, and that's Tennessee, Alaska, and South Dakota. So it's just something to be aware of. Now, anything that you received before, like if you already owned assets before your marriage, those still belong solely to you, but anything that is gathered during the marriage is going to be split 50-50 with the spouses. This comes into play a lot actually when I am sitting with clients and they're putting life insurance or annuities, they're putting beneficiaries on them, and they want to name like a grandkid or a kid the beneficiary instead of the spouse. For whatever reason, it's just a gift or whatever. The spouse actually has to be notarized. The spouse has to give consent for it to be a beneficiary other than them in community property states. So I run into that a lot because, you know, I have grandparents that want to just leave an account to a grandkid or whatever, but the spouse does have to consent and it has to be notarized. So they have to know what's going on. So little quirks like that. But if you do have an inheritance or a gift given to you by a parent or a family member or something specifically just given to you during that marriage, that does still belong to you. It's just anything that you guys have gathered together as a married couple. And most community property states also acknowledge domestic partnership as the community property as well. So just a little tidbit. So otherwise, if you're not in one of these states, it's just, instead of being split 50-50, it's split accordingly, which basically means whoever deems what to what. Obviously you're gonna have to go through a lawyer if you're going through a divorce or something like that, and then they have more pull, and your lawyers do, on who gets what, who's entitled to what, and this sort of thing. It's not so cut and dry like it's like 50-50 in a community property state. So it's just something to be aware of on when you're setting up your estate planning. There are ways around it, sort of. I'm not a trust attorney or estate planning attorney, but definitely speak to one. It's just for more general information is the scope of this video. But there's some ways around it. There's some trusts that you can set up to help distribute assets differently. But for the sake of this video, community property estate, anything is going to be split 50-50 with spouses. So just be aware of that. It helps you understand how things are going to work because it can get a little tricky. Let's say if you buy a home with your brother, right? Let's say you buy a vacation home with your brother and he's not married, but you are. Your half of that home is your spouse's also. So your half is your spouse's half, and then your brother has their half. So just keep that in mind, because even if you buy it, technically with your brother, right, it's still your spouse's as well. So when you're trying to sell it, that might complicate things. So if you have more questions, we can get way into the weeds on this if you want. Email me, call me. It's taurusfinancialsolutions.net. As always, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you guys, and have a beautiful day. Bye.